One Piece community, what's good? I'm Antoine, and I am the voice of all things. And man, oh man, this one is a tough one for me. Being a fairly new YouTuber, I wanted my first One Piece video to be about the truth behind the missing scabbard Denjiro, but I was too late. As we saw in chapter 973, we learned that not only is Denjiro Kyoshiro, but he is also the Witching Hour Boy. Most of the community theorized that Denjiro was either one or the other, but no one thought he was both of them. Now with that said, there is still far more to delve into when it comes to the mastermind that is Denjiro. So let's dive into it, folks. We finally reached the conclusion of the epic backstory of Kozuki Oden. Or have we? There still might be more, we really don't know. We learned about the origins of the scabbards, Oden himself, Orochi's bitch ass, as well as the events that transpired leading up to the current state of Wano Kuni. Despite this being the longest backstory in the history of One Piece, there was still plenty of mysteries left to be unearthed, the biggest of which surrounded the missing scabbard Denjiro. Knowing what we now know about Kyoshiro and the Witching Hour Boy, I've started to wonder, has Denjiro been protecting Wano from behind the scenes this entire time? Orochi's plot to usurp the Kozuki clan and become shogun began with him tricking key people into giving him money to have weapons manufactured in order to eventually entice big players, i.e. Kaido, to back him on his mission. The one person whom Orochi kept hitting up for money the most was Oden himself, ironically. Nearly every single time that happened, Denjiro would shout at Oden to stop giving away so much money. The reason is because Oden was continuously dipping into resources he and his vassals needed to live off of. As shown in chapter 965, this clearly infuriated Denjiro, witnessing Oden constantly getting finessed by Orochi's bitch ass. The reason Denjiro was so sharp in noticing Oden getting hustled by Orochi is because Denjiro is a con artist himself. The old takes one to know one adage. And we know this because in chapter 968, Nekomamushi revealed that Denjiro, due to his con artistry, never stays in one place for too long. I believe, like much of the One Piece community, that this was the beginning of Denjiro becoming the Witching Hour Boy. Now, there's a very curious cycle that occurred right before our eyes when it comes to the Robin Hood efforts of the Witching Hour Boy. Komurasaki stole money from scumbag thieves in the Flower Capital who fell in love with her. Then apparently, she was routinely giving some of that money to Otoko, who in turn gave it to her father, Tonoyasu, to distribute to all of the poor villages within Wano, making Yasu somewhat of a Daylight Hour Boy? Nah, fuck that shit. But who was the mastermind behind all of these efforts? Komurasaki couldn't have mapped out this entire plan by herself. That's because after they finally reunited, I believe Denjiro approached Hiyori with his ultimate plan to protect both Wano and the Kozuki bloodline from the shadows while hiding in plain sight. You see, there's absolutely no way Hiyori would have survived an entire 20 years hiding out with just Kawamatsu, and Denjiro was well aware of this. The letter Hiyori penned to Kawamatsu assured him that she was just fine. How could she be safe in the middle of a country that ultimately wants her entire bloodline dead? It's because, as we saw in chapter 973, Denjiro took on the identity of Inemuri Kyoshiro and built a reputation for himself to become Orochi's right-hand man in order to keep a close eye on Orochi, while simultaneously keeping up appearances by fully committing to his role as guard dog, fooling every single one of Orochi's men in the process. If you look back at chapter 919, when Kyoshiro was introduced, his Oda box displays him as the Kurozumi family purveyor, money exchange house. Now, the word purveyor has a couple of meanings. It's either a person who supplies food and provisions, or a person who spreads, repeats, or sells information or lies. Since Kyoshiro is the purveyor of the Kurozumi family, the latter definition applies in this case. And it couldn't be more apropos. When you are a con artist, you want to place yourself in a position where you are able to be the sole supplier of information so that you can control the narrative and steer a situation in any direction you see fit through calculated misinformation. This is Denjiro's forte. Denjiro has used his con artistry to fill Orochi's head with as many lies as necessary as a means to control him and keep him right where he wants him. He has also done the same for all of Orochi's men. This is evidenced by Kyoshiro busting out laughing in chapter 919 when he mentions the samurai of the Kozuki family died 20 years ago. They were all driven into the castle and burnt alive. Denjiro, masterfully playing his role as informant and con artist, means he is able to control the narrative at will. He successfully managed to convince all of Orochi's men that Orochi is a paranoid coward for worrying about Lady Toki's prophecy, which in turn caused Orochi's forces to never take his concerns seriously regarding the eventual return of the 9 red scabbards. I believe that this was a tactical move on Denjiro's part to keep the enemy's guard down. Now, I was gonna get into this whole traitor thing that the One Piece community can't stop talking about, but I just don't feel like Oda has left enough breadcrumbs behind for any of us to form a solid theory on this just yet. At this time, all I will say about it is this: I do not believe there is a traitor in the linear sense. I feel like we are undermining Oda's genius by assuming there is a traitor in the general basic sense of what the word means. What I'm saying is, I don't think it's as simple as insert scabbard is the traitor. I believe there are several layers to this whole traitor thing, but I am 99.9% sure that none of the 9 red scabbards have outright betrayed the Kozuki clan. Now, before I move on, I want to mention that in chapter 929, we learn that someone stole the blueprints to Kaido's mansion that Frankie was looking for. This person had their face hidden and was also from Kuri, which obviously is the Witching Hour boy. Denjiro has the blueprints to Kaido's mansion, and him having the blueprints to Onigashima will be one of the major keys in this war. Now, back to this traitor thing. People are wondering about the ships that were destroyed at the port and the bridges connecting the different sections of Wano that were also destroyed, but think about it from a different perspective. This whole time, Kinemon has been leading this entire operation to take down Kaido and Orochi from the outside. What I mean by that is, Kinemon knows Wano, but he does not know the best course of action in regards to sailing to Onigashima. The person with that knowledge would have to be someone from the inside, someone who knows the ins and outs of both Kaido's and Orochi's operation. That person is Denjiro, and he's been paying attention to the Alliance's moves so far, and I believe anytime the Alliance made a decision that would have surely gotten them killed, Denjiro leaked information to have the plan intercepted in order to protect the Alliance from certain death. Now hear me out. Sailing into Onigashima head-on would have absolutely been a death sentence for the scabbards, so that plan had to be shut down. I believe Denjiro leaked the port information to Orochi to have his men destroy those ships at the port to prevent the scabbards from sailing to their imminent doom. This could be a serious stretch, but I believe Denjiro is trying to keep the Alliance safe until he is able to reveal his master plan to all of the Alliance. Like I said earlier, Denjiro has the blueprints to Onigashima, so we can safely assume he knows all of the secrets to Kaido's mansion. With that knowledge, why would he allow the scabbards to sail to their deaths right now? Because to his understanding, they were planning to sail on Onigashima. The same goes for the bridges that were destroyed throughout the country. Denjiro knows Orochi will be at the banquet at Onigashima, which means Orochi is leaving Kyoshiro/Denjiro in charge of the flower capital in his absence. This is the perfect opportunity for Denjiro to finally inform the Alliance of his master plan. But how could he do that if the Alliance is heading to the promised port only to sail to their deaths? I believe that destroying the bridges was a means of Denjiro controlling the situation until he is ready to speak to everyone, which is coming very soon. As a kid who spent his entire life being a con artist, achieving this massive feat was something Denjiro was built for. This is like Itachi levels of epicness when you really think about it, and I cannot wait to hear more about what Denjiro and Hiyori have planned. Because, I mean, it's obvious that Hiyori is with Denjiro right now while the scabbards are at the promised port. And for anyone who is doubting the genius of Denjiro or doubting the genius of the god Oda himself, remember that Kozuki Oden warned Kaido, don't make the mistake of underestimating our samurai. And with that, I'll holler at y'all next time. Deuces.